Sammy, my heart is like, that was amazing. Come on, you guys, one more time for that. That was beautiful. Well, I'm David. I was, besides a teammate, my wife and I were also roommates with Tron and Jason from the very end of 2008 to the beginning of 2010. I do have a prepared little speech here, but there's something I wanted to bring up that I didn't realize until I was speaking to Jason's father just prior to this ceremony. It's that picture, this picture, the one that they see, the black and white. Little story in this picture. In January 2009, I lost my father, and Jason had made the trek all the way up to Lone Pine, California. It's about 4 hours, maybe, 4 or 5 hours north of here, to be at my side to help comfort me in such a hard time. He rode up with a bunch of friends of mine, because I was coming from Vegas, because that's where my father lived, and we had to take care of things there. But when we were done with the burial, we were coming back to Orange County. So Jason, instead of riding back with my friends, he decided to ride with us. He wanted to drive my truck and let me rest, because obviously, it was a very challenging day, which was very nice. On the way back, just outside of Lone Pine, at the base of Mount Whitney, is the Alabama Hills, and we stopped there to snap some pictures. This is not a posed picture. Jason got out of the truck. He's wearing this, he doesn't have his jacket on anymore. He's wearing this dress shirt. And I see the lighting's hitting him just perfect. The scenery in the background's beautiful. So I just turned my camera to him and said, "Hey, smile, Jason." Snap. That's all it was. No pre-planning. I mean, it's almost a candid shot. But what I love about the photo, and what I didn't realize, so I was pointing it out to his father, is, in a nutshell, I captured everything that Jason was. You see his hair, a little bit wild. Brings out, that's Jason's wild side. Yet the dress shirt and the tie, there was a refined side to Jason. And that shows it. That smile that captivated all of us. And those eyes, you can see the sincerity in his eyes. Remember, almost a candid shot. He never had to think about it. It was always there. And then, of course, if you look at the big picture, which that's a crop of, but I have the bigger one. He's out in the Alabama Hills, nature. I mean, there's few people that love nature as much as Jason did. So that was awesome. That's Jason right there in a nutshell, in that one little picture. Well, kids love Jason because he was so good at connecting with kids at their level. Here's this big, kind of dorky guy sometimes, but he was fun, and he was funny. Women loved him because he had these movie star good looks. I could totally see this guy being an actor. He's that face that you'd remember. Oh, I've seen him in so many movies. He's awesome. But he was also ridiculously charming. And from the stories I heard earlier, he used those looks and charm to further advance his agenda. Men loved him because he was just so darn cool. I mean, really, how many guys can wear a dress, ride a purple motorcycle, and be no less of a man for it? Everyone loved Jason because he was the master of one quality that sometimes we have a hard time finding in the people we deal with every day, and that's sincerity. When he did something nice for you, it's because he really wanted to do that for you. If he said something nice to you, or when he said something nice to you, he really meant it. And if you felt like, or if you felt like he really cared about you, it's because he really did. He might have appeared to some a little rough around the edges, but he was, as I mentioned with the dress shirt, a very refined person. He had a penchant for enjoying the finer things in life. He could truly enjoy the intricacies, man, I have trouble with that word. I practiced that word all night, I still can't say it. The intricacies of exotic foods from around the world. Eating with him was like being in a real life episode of some show on the Travel Channel. It really was, and I love that. But besides being able to enjoy the cooking of other people, he himself was a great chef. I remember maybe best his chicken noodle soup. My wife and I had bought one of those rotisserie chickens from Costco. And Jason helped us pretty much devour that thing down to the bone. When we were done with it, he wanted to save the carcass. He thought this is going to make a great soup base. Well, the next day, I get an email from him at my job, where at the end of the day, where he told me, I'd been thinking all day about this, David, and what'll make a great soup. And I thought about these ingredients all day, and sure enough, he stopped at the grocery store on the way home, and he bought all this stuff, and the result was pure magic in a stock pot. I begged him to make this soup all the time, and I'm actually kind of sore at him for leaving without leaving the recipe. He took it with him, unfortunately. But it wasn't just this. I mean, that's the thing that stands out in my mind the most, but many of us in here were lucky enough to know and enjoy many things that he was able to cook or conjure up. He might have looked at cookbooks to be inspired for inspiration, but when he was cooking, he never had one at his side. Yet he still worked that magic. And man, I miss his food. I really do. I've recently invested a lot of money in tools at Home Depot, to the point where Home Depot should call me a sponsor at this point. I've learned a lot in the last 5 or 6 months about home improvement and home repair, and I'll tell you what, I point it all to one guy, and that was Jason. When we were roommates, just seeing what a handyman he was, I was jealous, I was envious, it was crazy. He had all these cool tools in the garage and everything. I wanted to be just like him. The day before he left us, he had seen some pictures of some projects I'd worked on, and he left a comment. Wow, David, you've become such a handy-manny. And I'll tell you, him being the inspiration for why I bought all these tools and learned how to do all this stuff, that meant so much to me for him to say that. And I hope he knows that. Was Jason the most interesting man in the world? Well, if he dumped you after a dragon boat tournament, you had to resist the strong urge to thank him. I don't know if he could win trophies for his game face alone, or if he bowled overhand, but to me, Jason, you were the most interesting man in the world. And as you're off on your new great adventure, I am going to miss you very much.